Hey everyone. This week I want to talk about motivation, or what can get in the way of being motivated. So I'll give you some concrete examples here. So I've got the water heater. It was a tanked water heater. I got the piping cut today and I got the drain opened up and it's just dripping. So I have to wait for it to clear. So while I was motivated to get that thing all done today, I am now stuck. Then I'll move on to the next piece, which is to get the tankless unit set up. So let me open up the boxes and go through that. I get to that and I find an electrical connection set up in there that I have never seen before. So it's off to an electrician for this, but it requires 340 amp fuses. Never seen any electrical item that requires three breakers, right? So I'm very curious about how this is going to work. So I'll go see if I find anything online, obviously. But it's going to mean that I'm going to need a new line going into it. So new wiring, the three breakers and things like that. So the other thing that can get in the way of being motivated is I have a bunch of projects, too many projects, one might say, and some of them are going to require expense, right? So getting that solar tracker up is going to require expense. There's some manual labor that I need to get done, like getting the hole made for the 4x4s and things. Then I have to go rent a vehicle, get the 4x4s, get any of the wood that I need for the other projects. It's all money. But I got to get the hot water tankless system in place. So, and costs are not coming down. So now I have to balance out what I would like to get done and what I can get done. And having to wait when you get fired up to go do something, or then realizing you have to put something off because of the cost of it, can really do a number on being motivated, right? It's hard to get things going when you hit roadblocks that you can't get over right now. You can get over it later, but I can't get over it right now. Part of it's going to be, what can I get done myself, right? Just like any project. Okay, so I can't do the electrical hookup in the box, right? Or I don't feel comfortable at this point to go do that. But that doesn't mean I can't find out what wiring I need, which is 8 gauge, and run the wire to where it needs to go, put my conduits in, do all of that work, leave extra length there so the electrician can handle both ends of the connection so he's comfortable with the work being done. So I didn't want to just connect up one side of it, perhaps. Depends on what it looks like on the other side. I haven't cracked open the unit to go look. But, just let him handle both ends of the unit because it's his license, if you will, that's on the line about hooking all that stuff up. So let him go put the 40 amps in. I have just enough room if I pull the 30 out to put 3 40 amp fuses in the box that's there. So that's another question for an electrician. Do I need to replace the box? Is the box going to be sufficient? Knowing that I also have a smart box to put in, which will be a sub panel. So some of the breakers will move over to there. So probably I'm okay with what I've got because there'll be a sub panel that'll handle some of the load in the house. Not a lot of it. I don't have more than a 12 kilowatt unit right now, and I'll probably go to 24 in a year or two. And even at that, 24 kilowatts is not going to let me run the house, but it is going to let me run certain things. I'm out in the woods, so there's certain things that are a little bit more expensive out here, power-wise. For example, one of the things that I've got is I have a water pump. Well, that water pump requires electricity. The heaters that I have, even though I still have some gas heaters in the house, they require electricity for the blowers to blow the heat around. So there's certain things that will require power that I'll want on, and certain things that I don't. And certain things I can't do without, like the heat tape that's around the incoming water pipe to keep the pipe from freezing. That's got to be on, and especially in the winter. So there's certain things that I just can't do without. So I have to figure out how the box is going to be segregated for that. Probably most of it's going to be a couple of 20s and a 30, and that's about it. So not a lot of the power can be pulled out into the sub box, but even pulling 130 out in a pair of 20s gives me 4 open slots in the box, right? So it's not a bad deal there. But again, it's going to be now I have to change gears. Now that I've seen the electrical requirements for this unit, so now I can go get the parts, right? So I can get the parts. I can run the wire where I want to run it. The part of the structure has a crawl space underneath it, and they ran some wire that way, and I do not want to repeat that. The reason for that is things can crawl underneath that crawl space. I have skunks and groundhogs and all kinds of stuff, and the last thing I want to do is have a wire down there that could get nibbled on. In addition to that, taking apart the water heater today, I pulled the electrical out of it and realized that the electrician never wrapped the wires together. They weren't twisted. What he basically did was took the wire from the water heater and the incoming wire, stuck them in a wire nut, and twisted the wire nut, and that's it. When I took that apart, there was no twist to the wires at all. They literally just came apart as soon as I pulled on the nut. So years of just wishful thinking pretty much was holding everything in place. So that's scary to me, having an electrician come into the house that I don't know, because I don't have an electrician that I've been using for years. And having them do the work, I'm going to be sitting on the shoulder, because we've had electricians and plumbers and things in the house here that the work that they've done is subpar. Would be giving them a gold medal, considering some of the stuff that I've run across. The plumber pulled out a bunch of copper wiring or copper piping and replaced it with braided. And I have no clue why you would do something like that. I know it wasn't braided to begin with. It might be that there was a legitimate reason for it. I can't think of one off the top of my head, except I did notice that one of the sinks has a very thin copper pipe coming out of it. But even there, just put a regular copper pipe back in if you wanted to change the size of it, or do something similar, about stepping it up to what you wanted to hook into the rest of the system. I'm all for braided going up to the sinks, because that gives you a lot more flexibility, and I'm for braided going to the toilet. And yet, I don't know if it was the same plumber or not who did the work in the bathroom, but put solid copper up to the toilet. So trying to take the toilet apart to swap out the bits inside is an interesting challenge to not damage the copper that's going into it. So that's all got to be taken apart. So needless to say, my experience with professionals in this area is not great. But again, it's a little demotivating when you hit something that you can't work on. For me, for a DIYer, because I like to tackle as much as I can. You guys know I did the extension to the porch. It's a second story wraparound porch that I've got on the house, and I extended it last year because I wanted, or 2 years ago, because the stairway that was there was regular 2x6 painted and nailed in from the sides. So I'm not happy with any of the way that was put together. But the problem is the nails gave, right? They rusted out. And some of the wood started to give. So you had wood rot as well as the nails rusting, and the stairs collapsed. So I built a new staircase, got that in there, and rather than just putting it back where it was, I wanted to extend the porch because I wanted to put up the solar systems that I've got. And so I did all that work myself. I did all the electrical for the solar panels myself. I just redid the plumbing for the sinks and if you ever hire a plumber and there is no cutoff for the sink that they're working on, assuming you've got them working on a sink, and when they're done, there isn't a cutoff in there, you hired the wrong plumber. Every sink or every group of sinks, in this case I've got 3 sinks clustered together, has to have a cutoff, because if you're going to replace a sink or if you need to work on a sink, you need to be able to turn off the water. Ideally, you'd want to cut off at the bottom of each sink so that you could just flip it on and off. In this case, because of all the braided that's there, and the fact that he put a braid through a opening into the from one sink to the other, I decided to just leave that in place for now and cable it up. Basically, the issue that I'm going to have there is I have to put an extension basically in that takes it from the one side to the other. But what I do is I put the shutoff in coming directly in from the hot and cold lines. So it comes right into there, shuts off, and I can shut off all 3 sinks. The other thing the guy did when he put the second sink in is he disconnected the 3rd sink. So that's another project. Downside of owning a home is all that stuff is your problem. And years of having, like I said, less than stellar plumbers and electricians in here, I've now inherited. So there's certain things that I've got to get done, and there's certain things that I can do myself, right? But there's just other things that are just beyond me, and this is one of them. And it's a little, like I said, disheartening and a little demotivating to run into a roadblock like this. But it also has a secondary impact. Now I have money going out that I didn't anticipate. Right? I didn't anticipate the hot water heater going out, period. So start right from there. Money's going out just off the rip. The unit I got was, I think, close to $700 for a tankless. It's capable of running 2 showers simultaneously. I got to be careful with my water because while the water temperature, which I'm not 100% sure on, is supposed to be around 47 degrees, I'm not 100% sure because it's coming from a well, and the well's 300 feet down. So even though the water down there could be at about 50 degrees or 60 degrees, as soon as it comes up that pipe, it's now being cooled by the outside air. Then it's going to come across to the house, go under the house, and come into the water tank. So it has some outside cooling in the winter. So I'm not sure this is going to be able to run 2 showers. I don't really need it to, but that's the unit I got. It's a 27 kilowatt Rheem. So I'll let you guys know what I think about it and how well it works, especially come January, February, when it's really cold, and how that's doing for water output. It appears that it must throttle the water based off of the temperature that you've got it set for. So while it's not actually holding any water, it's going out at a certain rate. So if you look at the Rheem sizing guides, they're done by region in the country. So I looked at my region, and this one's supposed to put out like 3.2 gallons per minute, which a shower is usually 2.5, so it's more than I'm going to need for that, but for 2 showers. So it's overkill, but it also means that it should be good if the water temperature gets below what their setting was. I just need to run a shower. I just need to run the sink. The kitchen sink had its own water tank. So that also has failed years and years and years ago. So we were just heating water to use it if we needed to for washing dishes and things. I'll replace that with a smaller unit, but the problem I'm going to have there is the wiring in that section of the house is even older, and still, believe it or not, has screw-in ceramic fuses. The glass, ceramic, metal, and little metal fuse that's in there is still in that part of the house. So again, another section of the house to get work done, and some of the stuff down there is two-prong, doesn't even have ground on it. So a lot of this stuff is what you get when you inherit a building, and it's just got to be worked on. So thankfully, certain things I can do myself, but I just have never seen something that requires 4 or 3 40 amp fuses. It just blows my mind as to how that's got to be wired up. I saw a quick install where all the guy did was just show off the fact that they installed it. Not terribly helpful, but he did show off the 3 40 amp fuses that they had in there for the exact same unit that I've got. So I know that's the proper setting, just not 100% sure how it gets done. So I'll have to use a electrician, but it'll be a learning experience for me as well. But again, money going out here means that other projects are going to have to be put on hold again, as they did last year, and so we'll see what other projects I can get to this year. I would love to get that solar system up. If not, I've got to pull the unit out of storage and take it apart, make sure that everything's still in working order, because it's been sitting for over a year now in storage, because I was not able to put it up last year. Certain things you just have to get when you get a good deal on it, and this is about $400, I think, on sale. So it's the entire unit. It's got everything in there that I need except for the power for it. So I need to get a power configuration in the house set up, which should be fairly straightforward, and get that up. But again, everything is time and money. So we never have as much of either as we would like to, especially with the current conditions in the world. So all I can say is when you hit a roadblock like I did here, what other path can you take? What else can you do right now that can get you a little bit further along, or get you, in this case, primed? So if I can get the wires run, get them tacked where they need to be, put any conduit in that I want to put in to protect the wires, and get all that set up so the wires are run and ready to go when the electrician shows up, it's less of his time. Now all he has to do is check the wires. He's going to have his 340 amp fuses of 340 amp breakers right there, so he can just pop them into the box, take the box apart, pop them in, pop that 30 that's in there out. Don't know what to do about that wire yet. I think I'm just going to leave it where it is for right now. He can put in those 340s, and assuming the box is good, that's the only variable that I can't right off the rip account for. The box should be okay. We've got 240 coming into the house anyway, so the box should be fine. But once he puts that into there and brings it over, he just pops them in there, wires up the hot water tank, and then it's a tankless, so the first thing you have to do is leave it off, but run water through it, and that's to clean out any air that could be in there, because air around a heating element is a bad thing. So you've got to flush the tank out, get all the flush the tankless system, the pipes out, to make sure there's no air in there, and we're good to go. So that's what I got for you guys this week. I will talk to you all next week, possibly with more project updates.